Hi, my name's PJ from Ixim, where we make fresh handmade tortillas. Today, I'm going to show you how to make a very traditional, very delicious breakfast dish from Mexico called Huevos Rancheros, or rancher's eggs. Okay, so the ingredients for this dish are half a pound of tomatoes, that's about 250 grams, serrano or jalapeno pepper, one small white onion, you could also use half a medium onion if you have it on hand, a small handful of cilantro, and 2 or 3 cloves of garlic. That's for your sauce there. A little bit of salt and pepper to taste for the sauce. Now for the eggs, we use 4 eggs here. These are some free-range eggs that I picked up at the local farmer's market. Of course you're going to need tortillas for this one, so a dozen tortillas, and half a cup of oil for frying the tortillas. You're also going to need a few kitchen utensils, so you're going to need 2 frying pans, one for frying the tortillas, the other one for frying the eggs. You're going to need a small or medium-sized pot for cooking your salsa, a knife and cutting board, a plate with some paper towel on it for drying the tortillas after they've been fried, and a blender here to blend up our sauce. So the first step with this recipe is to get your oil heated up a little bit in the pan there. So I've got about a half a cup of oil in that pan now, and I want to turn that on to about a medium heat. Medium to medium high heat. So on my stove here, that's a number 6 out of 10, so your stove may vary. So now that oil is heating up, we can begin to make our salsa. So I'm going to start with the onion here. This one came with the stem attached. If you just buy the bulbs, that's fine as well. So I'm going to cut away the stem here and just set that aside. Cut away the bottom of the onion, and then we just want to chop it up kind of roughly. Throw that into the blender. Same thing with the other stuff here. We got the tomatoes. Want to break them down into some smaller pieces. Throw them in the blender as well. You don't need to be very precise with this. The blender blades are going to cut it all up, but cilantro we can just throw in just like that. And with this here, we want to cut off the stem of the jalapeno. Now if you want a little less heat, you can go ahead and remove the veins here and the seeds. Those are what hold most of the capsaicin, the part that makes the chili spicy. I'm going to leave those in because I like a spicy salsa. I'm just going to chop those up roughly there. And then the garlic here, so 2 or 3 cloves of garlic. If you don't like garlic too much, just put 1 or 2 in. I love garlic, so I'm putting all 3 in. And again, just chop it all up roughly. Now we put the lid on the blender and switch it to sauce mode. Okay, so you want to blend that there for about 10 to 15 seconds until everything's blended quite out. Now one thing I'd forgotten to do here is put in a bit of salt and pepper. Now you can put it in to your taste. I like to put about a teaspoon or so of pepper. For most palates though, I'd recommend probably between 1/4 and half a teaspoon of pepper. And then about a teaspoon of salt as well. If you want to add a little bit more flavor, you can use powdered chicken stock instead of salt. The traditional way is just to use salt, but... Okay, so now I've got that in there. I'm just going to blend it again for a few more seconds just to incorporate that. Alright, the sauce is done. Okay, now that the salsa has been blended, I'm ready to start frying my tortillas. So I've got a dozen right here in the package. Just going to open that up. and get them right into the oil, just like this. Now, it doesn't take very long, because we don't want to fry them right up crispy. Just a few seconds on each side should do it. So what we want to have is a product here, a tortilla, that's just a little bit fried, still pliable, but not fried to a crisp. Put those right there on the paper towel. I'm going to do 8 total here, and this is enough to make Huevos Rancheros for 2 people, 8 tortillas. Okay, that's it. So now I want to remove the oil from the pan because I'm going to use this same pan to heat up the salsa that we just made. So I've got a porcelain cup here. Now you can use Pyrex glass or anything that can handle the heat of the hot oil. And you want to do this over the sink. It's pretty dangerous to do it over the stove, especially if you've got a gas stove, because this stuff can light on fire pretty easily. So I'm going to put this cup right into the sink here. And then just carefully pour that hot oil into the cup. Now you can set this oil aside and let it cool down and use it to fry other things in the future. So now a little bit of oil is running down the edge of the pan there. I want to wipe that up before I put it back on the stove, because that'll start smoking up pretty good. I'm going to put this back on the stove now. And then I'm going to take my salsa and put it into that pan there. Now you've noticed I've left the stove on about the same heat level there, about medium-high. Alright, so we want to let that simmer away there for about 5 to 10 minutes. Turn the heat down to about a medium-low to the simmer temperature. And while that's happening, I'm going to start heating up the pan for the eggs. Okay, so I've got my pan here now and I've just started heating it up. I've moved the sauce to the back burner here so that I can work with the front burner with the eggs. I'm going to take a bit of that oil there that I just strained off, about a teaspoon to a tablespoon of it, and put that in the pan. And you just want to move it around the pan until it coats it all evenly there, more or less anyway. And then we grab our eggs. And just start cracking those into the pan. Careful you don't get any shell in there. I got a little bit of shell in this one. About that. Alright. I want to try and keep the yolks whole. If you don't like runny eggs, then you can break all the yolks there. But I'm going to keep them whole because this is the way that they serve it traditionally. Alright, now we're going to wait for those eggs to fry there for a couple minutes, and then we'll begin plating. Okay, now my eggs are done. It's been a couple minutes, and I'm going to start plating my dish here. So I start with the tortillas here. Just put those on the plate. I like to put them too thick. Now you could put a single one, but I prefer to have 2. I like it A nice crispy bottom to the Huevos Rancheros. Then you take your eggs. You put one on each tortilla there. Just like that. And then we got the sauce here. Nice tomato sauce that's been simmering away for about 10 minutes. You throw a couple big scoops on each one there. There. A little bit saucier there, we'll throw a little bit around the plate. There we go. Now you remember that onion stock I saved before? This is optional, just a little bit of garnish there. I chopped some of it up, which makes it look pretty there if you're presenting it for guests or something. And there you have it. That is Huevos Rancheros.